So I just got home from shopping at Walmart, which, if you live in Chicago, in the city, toward the middle of the city, and you don't have a car, it's actually quite an ordeal to reach a Walmart. But I made the hour-long transit adventure out there to go to Walmart, and it doesn't exactly matter where this one was, but I have never in my shopping, customer service, on the receiving end experience been so unappreciated and dishonored, or just not honored, like I was at Walmart just now. And it's so I was an inconvenience to my cashier and anyone at the fabric station. I waited at the fabric station for a while before I decided to just cut my own fabric and take that to the register and bring the barcode and get a yard rung up that way. And so when I got to the checkout, it's just so telling of the culture that Walmart is and induces. She rung one of my items up as ugh, just to outwardly express her frustration with whatever it was that I was asking, and outwardly, but passively, but without her mouthing off at me, she could kind of do it through the receipt. So that was very interesting. So if my experiences moving through life or receiving those kinds of energies where, okay, there's a transaction and I'm doing my end of the transaction, the bare minimum, why aren't you making it easy for me to just keep doing the bare minimum? Or why do you not understand the bare minimum? Or just interactions where the idea, what Malcolm Gladwell might call being a linchpin, the idea of going above and beyond, or the idea of wanting to share a gift, let's say a smile or eye contact, is something that we do as not expecting anything in return. And so when I'm walking through a reality where no one's interested in sharing those kinds of gifts, and everyone's just interested in doing this really bare minimum, we're all factory workers kind of thing, it's going to, or quite possibly can, really affect my own outlook on life negatively. So I leave the store and then I'm interacting with someone in the parking lot, and that's the energy that I've been receiving. And so where do I need to be mentally and emotionally to not let their trippings trip me up? Because that's extra emotional work that I need to do to be resilient in the face of drone reality that, for example, Walmart facilitates and then, as an emotional spin-off, induces in our communities. It's really amazing in this terrifically kind of disturbing way, because of the degree of power that Walmart has and because of the vast presence Walmart and its very similar compatriots and competitors have. It's concerning because that is such an incredible influence on our society. I'm talking about the emotional, spiritual environments that are maintained or intended or ignored, the tending to that is ignored. I'm talking about how you feel when you go into a space, and we put these spaces everywhere. These spaces are operating as engines of certain kinds of emotional states and certain kinds of opennesses to each other or to ideas or to love, or to look for something beyond the droll of day to day as a inconvenience. There's so much emotional work that we have to do collectively in light of the magnanimous presence that these types of culture engines have. So I've appreciated the strictly fiscal, monetary deals. The exchange that I had with Walmart today was one that, in light of my budget and some intentional work I've been doing lately, and some goals I've set, I was grateful for what I was able to find and walk away with. But then, now I also have an excuse that it's like an hour away to get to. It's not the easiest. Target's like for me, maybe a 20-minute detour in my regular day. Maybe half an hour on a really bad day. But that's round trip. So, but the overall experience, though, something that I haven't felt on that level at, say, Targets in the city. I feel a little more honored at Targets, but I'm inclined to actively avoid engagement, participation with Walmart, because that's just sad. That's the reality that they are cultivating. You can tell that people don't care. You can tell that people don't matter in their structure by the way that you are greeted on the front lines. So I've had experiences with Walmarts where people have greeted me, and people have been nice to me or honored me in some meaningful way, like smiles and such. But here's a Walmart in an area of Chicago that's on the perimeter of the city proper, and in a marginalized community, socioeconomically marginalized. So most everyone there is Latino or Black. And on top of a city that has dishonored our communities of color through policy, it continues to do so. There's so much work to reshift our focus and our meaning and our applied work of what does it mean to honor each other, especially in light of all of the dishonor that the city has instituted. We've only scratched the surface of that kind of conversation and that kind of fruit. So there's a long way to go, and the rate at which we need to be pursuing that is much larger than the rate we're currently going. So we are still in that kind of lens of, well, what would be a just way to say we can't reinvent, the past 100 or 200 years and more, but that doesn't and cannot mean that we won't work toward the kind of reality that is loving, and that is our just community, just as in like justice and equity oriented. So that's all to say that we have a responsibility here, individually and collectively, to hold our systems accountable, and to co-create together in designing more empathetic and loving systems, to either shift those structures that are existing and are ancient, or to supplant in some way, render irrelevant, so that we can actually work into the new. So we have a responsibility to do that. That's echoes across our decisions voting, but our economic decisions, our decisions in when to open our mouths and when to commit, or when to accept the challenge, so to speak, accept the invitation that we might be given to move the needle forward in doing something meaningful toward facilitating just and loving communities. Something we totally can do. We just have to do it. My wife says, if you do it, then you can do it. So Walmart's not doing it. Nope. It's up to you and I. And just the provocation of what might a reimagined Walmart look like. A just one. Maybe nothing like Walmart, but maybe it's possible.